If you've ever wondered why guys move on so quickly after a relationship, then keep watching. If it seemed like he moved on really fast after you guys broke it off, then it's probably because he doesn't have the emotional maturity or introspection to actually deal with his feelings. So instead, he's numbed that by monkey barring to another relationship. It's called a rebound for a reason. Okay, it's a distraction. Follow for more and good luck.
Women often take good men for granted and end up being with the men who care less about them. And at the end, they try to come back to the good men they have left. But if you are a man listening to me and you are experiencing something like this, never take her back, because she will go back to the same man you are saving her from. Don't do it. I love you.
I can tell you why. Why? Listen, men, we do. We'll pick your, hold on, wait a minute, Brittany. We'll pick your right up out the drive-thru. You ain't got to have a thing. But women, they transactional date, and they want a man that has his together, that is going places, he's got motion and all that. But no, he shouldn't. But you saying we are willing to date you in that same state without you being on 10, without you being lit. Why aren't women? That's what the thing that we come across is on this show. A lot of women are looking for a man that's ready made and he's already where he needs to be. What we've noticed is a lot of men, we accept the women where they're at.
A lot of men, you'll never understand that a lot of the stress that they have doesn't mean that they don't have any stress, but a lot of the stress that they used to have in terms of a relationship, which fed into work, which fed into relationships with their friends, with their family, because you're a bona fide problem and a bum. Once you left, all of that went out the window, because he ain't got to worry about you no more.
If you are still single and you love Jesus and you're tired of the dating apps, they're not working for you, you can't find anyone at your church or at the gym you go to or just out and about, then you've come to the right page. If you're new here, I run a Christian matchmaking service in which I help people around the country find their person. And now I'm talking specifically to the Dallas-Fort Worth people, because I have so many amazing men and women of God who love Jesus and are ready to find their person. So if you are interested in learning more about the matchmaking service or in being matched with someone that I am currently working with in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, then DM me the word Dallas and I'll send you all the information.
What's going on, fellas? Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment down below. Let's get back to the video.
There were both positive and negatives. The positive was I've never heard you all cuss and yell and disrespect each other. But then it wasn't always pixie dust and rainbows either. Like there was a very healthy balance of a realistic relationship. And we don't see that a lot today. Social media really promotes these plastic, pretentious relationships where you got to do pranks and tricks and jokes and everything just has to be fun. And that's just not real life. The negative side for me has been, if you will, that the world doesn't make men like my daddy anymore, right? So here I am with this desire, this image, this perspective of a man that I'm hoping for. And the world just doesn't make men like that. And I say the world because daddy wasn't necessarily a church going man. Right. He was raised right in a good home with good values, but it wasn't necessarily his faith that made him a good man, right? The world, you don't see that today in just men. And even sometimes the men that go to the church.
The Klay Thompson and Megan Thee Stallion relationship shows how much men and women have two completely different values. Since the beginning of that relationship, men never respected Klay Thompson for getting with Megan Thee Stallion. We actually lost respect for him. Only women were praising that entire dynamic because Megan Thee Stallion was negative confirmation bias. You can do whatever you want in your 20s, you can be as freaky as you want, do as many men as you want, you can talk about whatever, do whatever, and no matter what, there's still a high value man that will be able to save you. That's just not the reality. We don't respect women that are extremely promiscuous. We don't care how liberated you are, how much money you have. At the end of the day, a man still cares about a woman's image, name, and reputation. A lot of females thought that Megan Thee Stallion Holdings got deleted when she got with Klay Thompson, but that isn't the truth. And now they're seeing that crumble, they're all upset. But the reality is, we never want to be with any Jezzies. Trust my baddies only. Need help with your dating psychology? DM me out.
A lot of these modern women think that good men are an endangered species, and they're not actually scarce or rare, and they're not actually hiding. As a matter of fact, if you pay attention, which is what you should be doing when you move throughout the world anyway, then you're going to see one. A lot of times modern women are mentally lazy, especially when it comes to dating. So they're not going to see the good man right in front of them because their brain is turned off and it's on autopilot. And they're thinking about a lot of times a lot of foolishness.
Women are now saying, well, I have this degree, so you have to have this degree, and I make this amount of money, so you have to make this amount of money. So now they're just weeding out all their options, right? And they have this some perception that guys in, say, construction or plumbing, even if they own the business, aren't like good enough for them because there's like a grammatical error in their, text, and they're too snooty for that. So then you wake up, you've weeded out all these guys. You say they're not good enough for me. They don't have the fancy degree. They don't make enough money. And then you wake up at 35 alone.
Men don't like you. They like you. Men don't want to be in relationships. They want to. Men don't like being married. They like to. Don't believe me. Believe what men say. I'm a 31-year-old man. If I want...
Listen, I stopped it because she said, don't believe me, believe what men say. Ain't that how we got in this situation in the first place? You believe what men say, but not just any man. Let's take a closer look. Not only is this just some random man on the internet with no profile picture, the name says loser simp. But that's who we about to take serious, right? That's the problem right there. Y'all take loser simp serious. In the same way y'all date those type of men and use them to generalize everybody else, that's what you're doing right now. And when I say y'all, I'm talking about women like you, not all women. You see, the same way you got on here and said that dumb and I don't believe it, that's the same way men shouldn't be able to tell you anything and you believe it. Pay attention to the actions because they speak louder. Subscribe to my YouTube, Planet Reality.
A lot of these modern women, they be leaving good men. Some of these modern women be leaving good men in their 30s and 40s. And they were like, oh, well, he was good, but he just wasn't for me, yada, yada, yada. Okay, well, you didn't just started your journey on into Cat Town, into Wine Box Town. Because when you come back to that man, when you see that man probably a couple years later, that man's going to be in a relationship. The relationship's going to be stable. He's going to have a family that appreciates him. He's going to have friends that appreciate him. And you're going to be looking like a bum.
You know the man that works hard every single day and fixes everything around the house and is involved in his children's lives? The worst thing that you can do to that man is belittle him as if he doesn't do enough. He's made to feel like he doesn't earn enough money, he doesn't provide enough, and the woman that he's with isn't even wanting to touch him. But that man, he just keeps pushing forward. He continues to go to work every day. He continues to fix things around the house, and he continues to play with his children. That man just keeps on giving, and all he wants is a little bit of respect and appreciation.
The same way a lot of men prefer their women to be hairless like a child, also prefer their women to not be argumentative or hostile, similar to that of a child who can't or does not know how to advocate for themselves. Because recently I was watching this episode of Pop the Bloom. A woman came out and she expressed that she would prefer not to date a guy who's into the nightlife. And so the guy kept on calling her, you're closed-minded, I need to be with a woman who's open-minded, who's open to the way I make my money and my lifestyle, all these things. And so it got to a point where she just calmly said, I'm not close-minded, I just have a preference. Well, another guy popped. Obviously that pop had to do with the whole nightlife thing or whatever. He also said one very important thing that stuck out to me. He said, I feel like that interaction between her and the other guy was hostile. She didn't curse at the guy. She didn't yell. She didn't call him out his name. All she did was reiterate that just because I have a personal preference for myself, that doesn't mean I'm close-minded. Just to be clear, within that entire interaction, a man classified a woman as hostile simply for advocating for herself. Another man tried to subtly insult/demean the woman for knowing her worth and knowing that she's better than something.
20 signs she's not wife material. Ignore them and watch your future burn. She grew up without a strong, complete family structure. She doesn't respect her father. She won't respect you. She drinks or smokes regularly and sees no issue with it. She has tattoos, permanent marks of impulsive decisions. Her Instagram is full of revealing photos for attention. She has career ambitions, but no desire to build a family. She always needs to be right and refuses to be wrong. She competes for leadership instead of accepting yours. She creates emotional scenes, shouting and chaos. She keeps holds male friends close and defends them. Her life is full of mystery gifts and exes who won't leave. She expects you to adopt her interests but never follows yours. She cannot contribute to a home, no cooking or stability. She escalates arguments instead of calming them down. She hunts for emotional validation from other men. She gives ultimatums instead of working through issues. Her past is a list of casual encounters without commitment. She's deeply into astrology, tarot, and esoteric illusions. Her only goals are travel and pleasure, not building a home. And the final one, she doesn't respect your decisions. Treat this as your manual for survival. Now tell me, how many of these signs did you count in your woman?
A lot of these men, because they're good dudes, modern women be storming out on them. They be acting crazy with them. And they be like, man, what did I do wrong? And was it my fault? No, bro, it's not. She was crazy, man. Now, I encourage you to look at, hey, what did I do wrong? What did I say wrong? How did I act in a relationship? I encourage you to do that. But sometimes, man, you know, there ain't nothing that you could do. You've done all you could. And then the things that you didn't do right, you've tried to correct. That's really all you can do. If these modern women still act stupid with you, don't stay, man. Do not stay.
How many women do you think you could handle before one of them found out about the other one?
The answer is obviously one. Because a man knows even if he's with one woman, she will convince herself that he's actually with 10 women. You know, that random chick he followed on Instagram, even though that's his cousin, his sister, definitely. All of his ex-girlfriends, his ex-girlfriend's friends, his coworkers that are women, basically any woman that even enters into his life for like 2 seconds, she will find out about them and accuse him of being disloyal. A lot of men knows exactly how that goes. I mean, he could be sitting home alone and playing video games by himself, not even online, and still get caught cheating.
I came across the best video the other day where a male content creator had listed out his requirements for a wife. Here we go. She must be a word that rhymes with sturgeon. She has to be under 5'4". She has to weigh 120 pounds or less. She has to be a C cup or better, have a hip-waist ratio of 0.7. She has to cook well, keep the house spotless, have low iron levels, no male friends, but must have a good relationship with her father, under the age of 25, and finally submissive to him. And something tells me he will have to travel back to the Victorian era to find this paragon of virtue. The absolute best part of it, though, is the low iron levels. I mean, that's great. Doesn't anyone want an anemic wife who is prone to fainting spells? I mean, that's romantic. And who wants to tell them? Low iron levels means low energy, which means that your home, buddy, it's not going to be spotless. Your baseboards, sweet sir, are going to stay dusty.
A lot of these modern women like to comment on a man's masculinity. And if that's what you want to do, that's fine. Well, I believe a man should be this, and this, right? But I think the problem is a lot of these modern women really don't have a concept of what a man is. You can have an opinion, but the unfortunate thing for a lot of these modern women is their opinion is wrong. Their opinion of what a man is and what a man should be is wrong. That's not actually how a man works. That's not actually how masculinity works. They don't know that. They're just talking about what they read in some book somewhere.
70% of divorces that happen over 40 are initiated by women. Okay, why is that? Well, as she loses these hormones, there are so many brain changes that are happening. Mm-hmm. And because she doesn't understand herself, she thinks it's your problem. She thinks it's her teenage kid's problems. She thinks it's her aging parents' problem. She thinks it's work's problem. She doesn't go, oh, okay, wait, I've got some neurochemical changes going on in my brain that I need to make sure that my lifestyle supports. And since that conversation isn't open, she turns on everybody else. For years, I had so many women that came into my clinic and they said, whatever you do, please help me stay out of my doctor's office. And I was like, why? because they don't understand me. And when they don't understand me, all they do is give me an antidepressant. And I feel so lost in what I'm supposed to do to help my own brain health, help my own body health. And we start dishing out supplements and prescriptions when there's a lifestyle that women are working against.
You're going to have to understand about why men choose peace and why a lot of men are opting out. So when I go to my apartment doesn't talk back. My apartment doesn't play games, right? My apartment, my home, my solitude, my peace, all of that stuff that you're doing right now, it does nothing. It does nothing to me. It helps me out. When I have peace, I can think. And that's the thing that a lot of modern women don't really understand. When I have peace about something, I can think straight. The problem that you're asking me to solve, I can solve it if you give me a little bit of time to think. But most modern women, they don't know when to be quiet. So they just keep talking.
So tough.
I'm going under and I feel this time there's no one to save me. This all or nothing really got a way of driving me crazy. I need somebody to heal, somebody to know, somebody to have, somebody to hold. It's easy to say, but it's
I want to share with you something to give you some encouragement, because I believe that it only takes one. I believe that God has a plan for you no matter where or what situation you are in, that if marriage and family is on your heart, that God has a plan and it's going to bring you peace and joy. One of my best friends didn't get married until she was 40. She's someone I've always looked up to. I've known since I was 19, and she wanted to get married in her early 20s. She wanted to be married and she didn't find the man. And she went years and years and years thinking, will it ever happen? And then in God's perfect timing, she met the love of her life. They got married at 40. They have now 2 beautiful children. And she's like grateful that it didn't happen sooner in a sense, because she wouldn't have married her husband. So waiting can be so hard. But I want you to remember that God loves you and he has a plan for you, and that it only takes one. And God's timing is perfect.
Can a marriage truly recover after adultery?
I've said this before and I'll say it again. Sometimes cheating can make you worse, and sometimes cheating can make you better. And for me, marriage would be absolutely worse, but for some, marriage would be better. And what I mean by that is sometimes people don't understand the level of neglect that they've been giving their partner until something as big as cheating happens. And it's like, oh, wow, maybe I haven't been listening. Oh, wow, maybe I haven't been present. It's almost like a reality check of, I have this person that I love and I don't want to lose them, but I have been neglecting them. Thank you for this reality check. Let's make it better. Let's fix it. And then both parts have to be obviously in it to make it stronger. For others, cheating just is the beginning of a crumbling to the empire that you have worked so hard to build. If you are anything like me, cheating is absolutely not okay at all, nor is it accepted.
No, I think it's men just get tired of being walked over. They just get tired of it, man. It's exhausting to get disrespected in pretty much darn near every situation. Every scenario you can think about, the man is going to come out dead last. And not only are modern women setting it up to where men are going to come out dead last in every situation, they're telling men, they've gotten so bold as to tell men, you are going to come out dead last. And you should be happy that you're going to come out dead last. Your life is in service to me. Regardless of what you think that you should get, your life is in service to me.
One of the biggest mistakes women make is make their lives about get a guy, get a house, get married, and have kids. Because once you make your life that narrow, you have to compromise and compromise and compromise until all of a sudden you have no options. You have nowhere to go. You can't move. You can't shift. You can't go to the side. You don't have any independence and any power. Independence is not a bad thing. It's a wonderful thing. A couple of things for you. Number one, it gives you leverage in a relationship. because you're not defined solely by that relationship. It is a big part of you. It is a good part of you, but you can survive without it. And I think people who believe they're with someone who have no other options end up doing whatever they want to do. And it's not because they're bad people, but that's human nature. She can't go nowhere, so I can do what I want. It's not thought logically, but it ends up being that way. He can keep demanding. He can keep demanding. And what happens is, first of all, it's about the cooking isn't good. And then you bought Hunt's ketchup instead of Heinz ketchup. And then it's about the crackers because you don't have any other options. He's in charge, and there is a right and there is a wrong, and there's no breath. There's no opinion. There's no room for opinion.
You don't cook and you don't clean.
No, because when the default goes for women to cook and clean in a relationship, then I think that's also why so many people are struggling in relationships, because that's labor. So compared to women's labor, compared to men's labor, if he takes care of all the bills, it's still 5 jobs compared to his.
No. My husband does blue collar work, and what I do at home is nothing compared to what he does outside the house.
Okay.
And what does your husband do for work?
Oh, he does construction.
Does he do heavy machinery, or is he more
forklift, boom lifts, all kinds of lifts? Him doing what he's doing, coming home baked, looking like a freaking lobster. I'm not gonna complain about what I do at home.
And he supports the whole family.
Absolutely. And all I'm doing is, what am I doing? Cooking, cleaning.
What if you were working too? Like, would you want him to also clean and cook too?
He offers, but I told him, no, sit your down, do not do a thing. You were just out there for like 12, 14, 16, sometimes 18 or more hours.
Oh, damn.
Why am I going to make him do all that? If it weren't for him, we wouldn't be in the building we're in. We wouldn't have the things that we have all around us.
Yeah.
So it's like they are literally the backbone to our society, building the infrastructure that we have all around us, the technology and all of that.
Yeah.
You know, so I actually put my husband on that highest level of respect when it comes to the line of work he does. Because if it weren't for him and everybody else, where will we be?
When it comes to dating, the issue isn't that there aren't any men or women out there. The issue boils down to a matter of attraction. Because we are seeing so many different types of people on social media, because we can post a picture of ourselves and get hundreds or thousands of likes, it really boosts our ego to unhealthy levels. And we think that people are beneath us. And the people who might really be good for us, who can be a good match, we overlook those people because we always think that there's something better.
Stop!
I'm not the same guy. I'm not the same guy.
You gotta go!
I don't like her.
I'm not using this rude, but you're in a way.
I'm not talking to you. I'm not talking. You're gorgeous. I'm just telling you, you're gorgeous.
If you're watching this, chances are it's over for you. Modern women receive massive inbound attention. Average women get access to above average men. Women are biologically wired to seek status, resources, and competence. The modern woman is opportunistic. Love is conditional on perceived value. The top 10 to 20% of men get the majority of access. Women would rather share a high-value man than commit to an average one. Women are hypergamous. Dating apps are rigged. Marriage is risky. Opting out entirely is more rational. It's already over, so the logical move is to give up, right? Wrong. Because here's what they don't tell you. I used to believe all of this too. And you know what happened? Nothing. Because believing it's over protects you. You don't have to try. You don't have to fail. You don't have to prove yourself wrong. But the moment you believe it's over, it becomes over. Not because the dating market shut the door, but because you stop knocking. See, most guys scrolling this content aren't looking for tactics. They're looking for permission to stay stuck. They want someone to confirm, yeah, you're right, it's hopeless, just give up. Because that's easier than exposure. Easier than testing whether the boundary is actually external or if it's you. Yes, women are hypergamous. Yes, the market is unfair. But most guys never test how unfair it actually is. They assume their limits before they collide with them. They assume difficulty with impossibility. So yeah, if you're watching this, it's over for you. Unless you stop treating certainty as safer than uncertainty. Unless you stop assuming your limits instead of testing them. The story changes the moment you step into exposure. Comment gold if you're ready for that moment.
My boyfriend and I have been living together for 1.5 years now, and he's moving out next week. We're not.
You know, I'm gonna call it all types of silly and ridiculous and delusional, but my friend pointed out that she's being extremely positive and is possibly in a loving relationship where she doesn't have any reason to doubt her man. So, if she likes it, I love it.
Is it possible for an girl to be a wife material girl, do you think?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so to the people that think that it's not,
I mean, like, why would it be a problem?
I'm not too sure.
They're not going out and people.
No.
And if anything, like, they're probably more self-sufficient, that they're not going out there chasing men for money. They're probably more genuine people. I think at the end of the day, if you have something against it, don't go for a girl.
If you are a male and you are watching this, if you are seeing a girl, you start liking a girl and she does OnlyFans when you first met her, you have no right to tell her she has to stop doing it. You can't come into someone's life telling them they can't do it.
Is it true that all good men got tired of dating, so all they do is go to work, come home, scroll on Reels and TikTok for hours, send their favorite meme to one of their best friends? They have trust issues, and all they do is sit at home, play video games, and eat their favorite snacks. And now they swear they want a relationship, but barely leave the house, barely talk to women, and keep saying they will try again later.
Here's some crazy research for you. So a third of men, 33%, a little over a third, of men between the ages of 18 and 29 are not only single, but they're not actively looking for a partner. The same study said that by the year 2030, that 45% of women between the ages of 20 and 45 will be single. So I've got a question for the men, because I see it all the time in my comments. Most of my comments are filled with guys saying we're done. We're not looking. We like our peace. I need some more talk from you guys. Tell me why you're done. Tell me why you don't want to have a partner in life. Tell me why it's more worth it to be single than to have a partner.
Of course women love emotionally unavailable men because we're so emotional. We're too emotional. We need someone to balance it out. And in return, we help you because emotions is our forte. It's our specialty. Whereas solutions and logic can be your specialty. If we're upset about something, we want solutions. We want solutions more than you just having your own emotion about it.
I don't know what's in the air, but why is it a problem for men to pursue women? I think these men have forgot how the program went or whatever, because the first thing people be saying is, you want me to chase you. No, I want you to be assertive. I want you to be direct. I want you to have like some type of willingness in you. You know what I'm saying? I can't read. I'm not finna read your minds. And if you talking about I don't want to chase you, you're just giving girl. You're just giving two girls, waiting on one to make a move. We ain't doing that.
Why don't men make their move when they see something they like? We live in a day and age where everybody is offended, right? Everyone is offended. Everything that you do and don't do is wrong, right? So if you approach a woman, she's wrong. If you don't approach her, you are wrong. We're living in a day and age where we are hypercritical of what men do and don't do, right? So that's one of the reasons why guys do not approach and shoot their shot to women these days. So guys are experiencing fear of rejection. We don't really live in a day and age anymore where guys are being encouraged to get as many numbers as you can, holla at as many girls as you can, and then the guys come together at the end of the night and they count how many numbers that they get, right? We don't really live in that day and age.
What do you wish more women knew about how men operated?
There's 10,000 times more going on inside the head of a man than you have any idea. He's carrying burdens that you don't have a clue about, and he don't know how to express them, and he don't know what to do about it, and he figures if he puts it out there and communicates it, he's just going to be shot down, called a fool, called weak, so he carries it inside, and you have no clue the burdens and that most men are carrying inside and not even showing you.
in the night.
I wish more women understood that.
Men love independent women, but not for the reasons that you think, It's not for the job title or the bank balance or because they need someone who can support them financially, but because they love independent women, they love successful women for the confidence they carry, the high self-worth that they have, and they know how they should be treated. And more than anything else, they love this set of women because they don't have that need of validation. Because they're tired of validating the needs of a woman all the time. मैं अच्छी दिख रही हूँ, मैं अच्छा काम कर रही हूँ, मुझे promotion मिला है, I'm this, I'm that. Bhai, they are tired of constantly validating your needs. So if you're a smart and successful woman who does not need this validation, your man will be head over heels with you.
Please do not address me as a strong, independent black woman. It's not a compliment. I never hear a man that is raising children alone say, I'm mom and dad. He never becomes overly feminine because he's raising children. But we as women become overly masculine because we are raising children, because I'm mom and dad and I gotta do all these things, right? And now I put extra stuff on me and then I say, ain't nobody helping me. Well, nobody told you to do that. There is help available, all because I was trying to overcompensate for what daddy wasn't doing. I didn't have to be mom and dad because when you think of something strong, you do not think of coming to the aid of it. So when we are looked at and walk around as strong, what we're putting out is, I do not need assistance. I don't need your help. So anytime a man says, oh, I love it, you're so strong, I said, no, I'm not strong. I'm resilient. I'm not independent. I'm interdependent. Because nobody ever comes to the aid of the strong.
My experience and my observation is that most women are men in skirts. Meaning that the way their presence, their being, the way we roll in the world, it's very masculine because we've been conditioned and programmed out of our feminines. And when I say, I don't mean feminist movement in the world, I want to be a fireman or a football player. I'm talking about, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about how to be a woman in your being. What is the distinction between feminine power and masculine power? And we've been conditioned and trained to be men in skirts. We do everything like men. We compete like men. I said this on the R Spot a few weeks ago. I said, most women want their boyfriend to act like their girlfriends, chatting, shopping. But when the man comes home, what they meet is another dude.
Masculine men only protect and cherish feminine women. You can get mad at me, ignore me, or argue it, but it doesn't change reality. Your man is wired to protect, lead, and provide. But he can only do that for a woman who allows him to be that kind of man. If you constantly control, argue, or compete with him, one of two things is going to happen. He'll either shut down and become passive with no drive, no initiative, and then you'll complain that he's weak and he doesn't lead. Or he'll say, this isn't the kind of woman I want. And he'll go find a softer, feminine woman that he can actually protect and care for. When a woman lives in her masculine 24/7, he starts seeing her more like a friend, a coworker, or even competition, but never as a wife. So if you want a masculine man by your side, you don't force him. You make space for him by returning to your femininity. That's your natural state. That's where you feel adored and relaxed and deeply valued. If you want to learn how to embody that soft, confident, feminine energy, click the link in my bio to access my program.
The worst thing that you can do is finally find a good guy and then get comfortable with all of the great things he's doing for you. You don't show appreciation, which makes him feel like you're taking all of those great things for granted. And it is so easy to make a man feel appreciated because he literally never gets compliments. And you could compliment him on the most random thing. Like you could tell him, I like your neck, and he would be good for years. But even more importantly, giving him a genuine compliment that actually has some thought behind it will last him forever, because most men can count on one hand the amount of compliments that he's ever received. And he can even recall the details of each one, the name of the person, the date, the time, and even the weather. Compared to women that receive so many compliments, she typically doesn't even remember the ones that she got from last week because she's inundated with new ones from this week. So even though it may feel like it's not a big deal to show him some appreciation through a compliment, trust me, for him, it is.
So, who caught that? Did anyone?
Because it's rather apparent that there are some women out there that don't even seem to realize what actually constitutes chivalrous or even gentlemanly behavior for that matter. Because if they did, they would have probably realized that those gentlemen are actually sitting with their backs to the wall and their fronts are facing the door. What's the relevance of that, some of you were asking? Well, that means that those gentlemen would be able to see any possible danger that would be approaching from behind the woman, and they would be able to act upon it should the case arise. So, those gentlemen are doing exactly what they should be doing if we're talking about acting in a gentlemanly manner towards a lady. They're not sitting there for their comfort. They're sitting there because that is the actual gentlemanly thing that they should be doing.
Here's another example of why women are the problem sometimes. So women are like, when we go to the gym, the men stare at us. The men stare at us. We don't want you to stare at us. I just watched a video of a woman doing calisthenics and nothing but a crop top and skin tight booty shorts. And there was 3 men around her, and the entire minute video, none of them looked at her. They didn't give a single what she was doing, okay? And so I noticed it naturally, right? And so I went to the comments, and every female in that comment section is like, but no one looked? Oh, so now you want the men to stare at you at the gym? That's a little hypocritical. It doesn't make a lot of sense, does it? No, it doesn't. How about you just go to the gym and everyone there is minding their own business? Like, if people stare, people stare. If they don't, like, whatever, big whoop. People are there to fight their own demons. They're not there to, like, oh my God.
We're told to lower our standards, and then when we find a man who does us wrong, we're told to pick better men. It can't be both, but both times, it's the woman's fault. Stop it right now. This is exactly the point I was trying to make in my last video. And don't hear me wrong, I am not a raging feminist. I am not someone who's going to sit here and say it is always the man's fault. I do not feel that way at all. However, in this case, it's often women are blamed for the mistakes of bad men. All men are not bad men. All men are not going to hurt you. However, there are bad men and bad women who don't know how to be emotionally mature in a relationship. And often it feels like whoever is getting done wrong in a relationship is told that they need to pick a better partner. But simultaneously, there might be some people in their life that have told them in the past that they're expecting too much and to lower their standards. So how can it be both? It can't be. And this is a bigger issue of how single people are talked to. Okay. And I'm not only talking about women, I think it can apply to both men and women. And it can be infuriating. And I'm not trying to sit here and harp on it, but it is the truth. So I'm vocalizing it in case someone else needs to hear it. Okay. Bye.
A PSA for every man that's crippled by rejection: don't forget, men have literally stopped approaching women because they're afraid to get rejected. They're afraid to be called creepy, fill in the blank. And when we act out of fear, we create the reality we're most fearful of. So reminder to just shoot your shot, put yourself out there, and know that rejection is literally never personal.
Okay, cool. If it's not personal, you approach a man. If rejection is hot, you go try to get a man's number and see if you get rejected. You'll get rejected since it's a hot thing. You're not going to do that, though. This is another example of a woman getting on this app saying that men need to start approaching women again that probably has never talked to a man in her life. She's probably never gone up to a man that she's attracted to and tried to initiate a conversation. She's never had that process in her brain of, what if this man doesn't like me, or the nerves, or, you know, any of the experiences that come with approaching someone that you're physically attracted to. So you can't speak on these things if you haven't done them. You know, just like y'all don't like us to speak on things because we can't have them. If you have not approached a man, shut the up about approaching women.
You know, too often, a lot of women have it in their minds that they're going to always be young, they're going to always be vibrant, they're going to always have this grand pick of quote unquote high value men to choose from. And then they don't. We keep learning the hard way, and things keep backfiring on us. We think that we can be for the streets, be ran through, and still have a good, wholesome, providing, protecting, masculine man waiting for us on the other side. But we're realizing that that is not only untrue, but that the men are absolutely checked out. Okay? So much so that you have females going to singles events only to find out that there's only women there.
I don't mean this in a bad way, but have you ever been with any good guys? Actually, I have. I have been with a handful of good guys. And you know what? I don't talk about them on here. Do you know why? Because they have earned the privilege of privacy. See, I do know that it's not all men. And I also know that for the handful, literally, I can hold in one hand, of good men, I have had to sort through thousands to find that handful. They're good men. And you know what? They weren't all perfect, but they're people that I feel I could trust in one way or another. They're people that like I would introduce to someone else, even set them up with someone that I cared about. A handful amongst thousands of men that I have somehow engaged with, interacted. A handful out of thousands of men is literally a needle in a haystack. That is an exception, not the rule. The rule is that most of the men I have encountered have been a negative or gross or whatever you want to call it experience in one way or another, whether it was some sort of physical or in this case hygiene kind of way, or whether it was a behavioral kind of way. I know that it's not all men, but it's enough that I don't need to say it's not all men.
Men, let me know in the comments if I'm wrong. Men genuinely believe that no one gives a no one is coming to save you, and they are totally alone. But what if I told you they had reason to believe this? I would encourage you to go watch some YouTube videos from a woman named Nora Vincent. Nora lived as a man named Ned for 18 months. In 2006, she wrote a book called Self-Made Man about the experience. She was treated so poorly as a man that sometimes she was actually physically sick. Her key takeaway wasn't that women don't struggle. It was that men's struggle is entirely different and completely misunderstood by women. So there's a constant internal stress and an internal battle that men are facing that often the women in their lives don't see and often can't understand. After the experience, she struggled so much with depression that she actually unalived herself. Ladies, if you look at the rates among men, you can see there's something going on and there's a problem. Sometimes I think we forget that men are emotional and they do have feelings and they do need support. When I learned this and really understood it as a woman, I understood why a man wants peace in a partner. That's what he'll seek. Someone who will bring him peace, not just externally, but internally. Something that will help him win the war he's fighting in himself. Ladies, I encourage you very much to just go talk to someone you know, a guy you know. Try to get them to open up. Ask how they're really feeling or thinking, and it'll be hard. They might not want to do that, but I think you'd be shocked at what you would hear.
What can guys do to stand out in getting girls?
Oh, be funny, charismatic, laid back as well.
Laid back?
Yeah, definitely laid back, not too nervous.
You've no thoughts?
I don't know, I want guys to stop approaching us.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, she wants guys to stop approaching girls. You don't though, right?
No, I feel like it would be nice if a guy is nice and he's like, oh, you look beautiful today. Yeah. I'd love to get to know you. Just a gentleman.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Because I feel like in this day and age, it's like nobody really does it anymore. Like it's so rare.
Yeah, it's all
like
dating apps now, and
men have to know when to do it. Like if you see me in a rush, like I don't want you to stop and like
that's true.
get to know me.
Okay, but what if let's say she's at a coffee shop, like what we're doing right now?
That's okay, but like don't be pushy. And also, if I say no, just like go away.
Yeah.
I have a question though. If you're walking down the street and you don't want to be approached, and a guy approaches you and says the right thing, is there a wrong time to be approached?
No.
Yes.
I think it's chemistry. Definitely, you'll feel it.
Yeah.
Intuition.
Yeah.
Like you can feel if someone's like being like weird and a freak, or when someone's being genuine and he's genuinely like. I think it'd be nice if a guy seen you and like he was like, yeah, wait. Well, you can't just let go now, you know. That's true. I'd love to get to know you.
There has to be some kind of like tension. Like it has to be kind of funny.
But like, okay, I have
guys.
a question. If he's overly slick and he's like he just sways you straight away.
Yeah. It doesn't matter where you are. You can be walking into the toilet and they'll be like, hey. Yeah.
Didn't even need to go here.
Yeah. Okay, so funny, charismatic, and it doesn't matter where you approach. You just got to be funny, charismatic, and laid back. It's all on intuition. Thank you so much, guys.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, you too. What are your names?
Zarina.
Nice name.
Omnia.
Nice to meet you, Omnia and Zarina. Ciao, ciao.
Stop. Y'all gotta check this out.
What happened to men pursuing girls? When was the pivotal moment that a man chose to not go after a girl anymore or put in any effort?
When women decided they were too independent to need a man.
It seems like guys can just put the bare minimum and not even really put in effort anymore. They don't really care to. Or they're like, why don't girls just go and make the first move and make the effort? When did it become a thing? Now it's like role reversal where they expect girls to be making the first moves, yearning for a guy and chasing him.
After they've been rejected so many times, but not being able to pay for somebody's life.
That is, I feel like, the downfall of why it's so hard to meet someone, because men don't put in effort anymore, don't care to put in effort. And a relationship won't work unless the guy likes the girl just a tiny little bit more. He has to like her just the tiniest bit more for it to work in the long haul.
But shouldn't they like each other a lot?
So it would make sense if a guy really wanted to get to know you, that he would go leaps and bounds to get to know you. And when did that shift? Because back in my mom's era, if a guy wanted to take you out on a date, he had to go up to you, he had to get your number, he had to go through lengths to try to talk to you, even if you weren't interested at first.
But if a guy does that today, he will be called a creep, a perv, or maybe even put in jail.
How my parents met? They met at a bar, and my dad asked for my mom to dance, and my mom was like, get out of here. She wanted nothing to do with him. If he had just left and listened to her, they would have never gotten married, they would have never had kids. But he was persistent. He wanted to take her on a date so badly. He was like, what do I have to do to take you out on a date? She was working late their first date, so he went to her work, picked her up, prepped a dinner, took her to a park, just planned the whole thing. He wrote her poetry. He was yearning.
Today's women don't want that. They want what they see on the internet. Fake relationship goals and materialistic stuff.
And a lot of times, what you might find with modern women is sometimes they know they're doing it and they do it intentionally, but then other times they'll do it subconsciously, where you have a man that's continuing to audition. You're still comparing him to an ex-boyfriend, Chad or Tyrone, or some sort of guy or something like that you met somewhere, that you were in a situationship with. You wrote, well, he's not like this guy, or he can't do it like this guy, and my ex set the standard, and all that other nonsense. And eventually men hear that and they leave. So a good man that you had on the hook eventually leaves because you're talking nonsense. Oh, he's not really, he ain't a real man. He didn't step up to the plate. I ain't trying to step up to no plate. I ain't trying to do none of that, because this is not a one-sided audition to where you make all of the rules. We're both trying to put our best foot forward for each other. But it seems like in some form or fashion, only one of us got the memo.